I think people are really gonna hate this video. Let's find out. Hey guys, Akimbo Chris from Crusader Armory TV. And we're back at it again, guys, with another Amazon video. However, this one's a little bit different. The last one we did an Amazon tactical haul. So if you have not seen that already and you're interested in this like budget-oriented content, please go check that out on the channel. Today, guys, we are doing a budget Amazon build on my new MCX conversion AR. I think this is gonna piss some people off because I've got a kind of expensive gun here with more budget-oriented options on it. So I think some people out there are definitely gonna get mad. But look, I'm between a rock and a hard place at this point. I make budget content, it makes the budget people happy, but it makes the elitists mad. Then I make a video on a more expensive firearm and the elitists are happy, but the budget-oriented people are mad. So today we're doing a mesh of both. So we got a SIG MCX conversion kit here. This is the Virtus, so it's not the Spear LT. This is the basically Gen 2 MCX. So let's start out with the rifle. We'll go through the build here, what I have on here, and all the links for each of these attachments. You know, if they're ones that I mentioned, will be in the comments section below. So if you're interested in picking up any of these attachments, then please feel free to review that and click on any of those links. Just getting started with it here, just for all you safety nerds or whatnot out there, the gun is empty. So I'll go ahead and show you guys it's clear, take out the magazine. So this is a MCX upper. So this is a MCX Virtus conversion kit. And essentially you can buy these online. I think they're discontinued now because obviously you have the Spear LT. But guys, if you can find one of these on the secondhand market, you can get a really good deal on a Virtus upper right now. So this is basically an MCX Virtus for the poors. So if you are on a budget, maybe this is something that you want to look into. Put it on like an AR style lower so that you can have an MCX and a piston driven design, you know, over something like your basic direct impingement AR-15 for a lot less than $2 grand. So I did actually pick this up recently on TaxSwap, this conversion kit, this upper and this lower, from a guy. He might be watching right now, so shout out to you. I wanted to put some attachments on it just to get it running and so we could take it out to the range and do a video on it. However, I just don't have a crap ton of money to unload on it up front. So I put some Amazon-esque parts on here. I tried to pick the best value for the price. So all these parts are really things that I've used before that have worked, that are inexpensive. So these are quality parts, things that will probably, you know, serve you in your purpose, but things that are inexpensive. Just starting off, when we're talking about the MCX, what's different about the SIG MCX versus any of your other AR-15s out there, or just your basic AR-15? So this is basically a piston-driven AR platform. And what that basically means is your standard AR-15s have a direct impingement system, which means the gas just blows back and it just basically blows through a tube and blows the bolt back. This actually has a piston in it. There's a piston up here up front that bumps the bolt to push the bolt back. So a lot of the recoil is usually mitigated a lot better in piston driven systems. They're a lot better to run suppressors on and things like that because they just run cleaner. So overall there's a lot of benefits from a piston driven gun. Usually they're more accurate, they're easier to shoot, they run more reliably, and they run cleaner with a suppressor. That's kind of how the MCX differs from any other AR-15 or standard AR-15. I did take it out and I did put a few rounds through it when I first got it just to test fire it, and it does feel very, very well. This is regularly compared to something like my Bren 2 that I did a video on. If you're interested in the Bren 2, it's another option for right around $2,000. You can go check out that video as well. One of the biggest perks to having a piston-driven AR-15 as well, just from somebody, you know, who's a normal guy who doesn't run a suppressor, who, you know, just shoots 5.56 at the range, is you can actually put collapsible braces and stocks on these guns. So since they don't require a buffer system, so there's no buffer tube in this because it works off of that piston, you can actually get these stocks that fold. I'll just show you guys that real quick. There we go. You can fold it just like that. Since I do have an SB tactical brace on here, it doesn't fold completely, but you know, if you did have like a slim stock on there or a slimmer brace, you could definitely fold that and you can, you know, keep it as a backpack gun or something like that. flip it out when it's ready to go, get on site, and there you have it. Those are the differences between the SIG MCX, just a regular AR-15. You know, at the end of the day, they both shoot 5.56. They'll both kind of do the same job. This is just kind of a more premium option. Touching on the lower here, like I said, this is a conversion kit. So you can basically put this on an AR-15 lower. So we do have an Arrow Precision lower here. And it does have a Spear LT trigger in it. So only certain triggers will work with this conversion kit. So you have to be picky about what triggers that you use in these. However, this does have a SIG LT trigger. I like the way it looks, I like the way it fires, and you know, I'm not a big trigger snob anyway when it comes to any aftermarket trigger in an AR-15. On this lower, we do have a BCM grip. So we do have the BCM hand grip. We do have that 45-degree angled safety. We have a SB tactical brace on here to you know, fire the weapon, to stabilize the weapon. So this is basically essentially just an AR-15 lower with a SIG MCX conversion kit on the top to you know, make this a SIG MCX essentially. So it's just a standard multi-cal Arrow Precision lower. So you guys can do this at home as well. If you can find one of these, especially on the secondhand market, now that they're discontinued, you can probably get a pretty good deal on one of these uppers, probably for under $1,000. And then you can build out your lower and slap an MCX upper on there, and you basically have a SIG MCX with all the benefits. Definitely something to look into if you've always wanted MCX but don't want to pay you know, current MCX prices. Now let's go over the attachments that I have put on this gun, which might piss some people off, but they work. We're going to test them in this video. We're going to test them in a series of videos when we're doing these Amazon videos. And so far I've had good luck with them. So just going over the optic setup here. First things first. We do have a Cyclee GT10. This is a green dot. So these are basically SIG Romeo clones. They have essentially the exact same emitter in the SIG Romeo, so the brightness settings are basically the same. The emitter is very bright on these, which is why I really like them as a budget option, and they fit basically the same footprint as the SIG Romeo 5. This is literally like a rebranded SIG Romeo 5. Everything from the controls to the battery compartment to kind of the design of it. I used to always go for SIG Romeo 5s when I'm buying a budget red dot because it's just a great option. However, ever since I've started to use the Cyclee GT10s, I don't buy the SIGs anymore. I mean, the SIGs still run about $150 for the Gen 1. These are about 80 bucks on Amazon, and this is the green version. You can get the red version for $5 or $10 less. So these are a great option. I've had one of these before. I just ordered a new one. So this is kind of what the packaging looks like. Cyclee GT10. And I'm sure you've seen a whole bunch of other YouTubers cover these. I mean, from what I've heard, their customer service is really good. They're like an Amazon brand, and the quality is just, I mean, they just work. I mean, I've seen people beat the crap out of these things, and they work. I do trust these. I do have some prior experience with them, so if you're looking for a really, really good red dot, best bang for your buck, definitely look at the Cyclee GT10. And this is the green variant, so if you're more into the green dots like I am, you know, this is definitely something for 80 bucks. You cannot beat it. I don't think there's another red dot out there on the market that is green and you know, meets the quality of this one. So I would definitely check out the Cyclee GT10. So right below that, we do have that on a Unity clone mount. So this is from Amazon. I think I paid maybe 30 or 40 bucks for this thing. I didn't pay a crap ton of money for it. This is the one that has the iron sights built in here, so you can still co-witness. And this is that like Geisley, like FDE style color. I do like the mount so far. I haven't put a crap ton of rounds to the gun, so I don't know how well it's gonna hold up. So I guess we'll figure that out when we get down to the range when we start shooting. But overall, it looks really good. It seems to be more color accurate than some of the other like Chinesium, you know, optics and things that I've used that are supposed to be that like Geisley FDE color. This one actually seems a little bit more color accurate, and it seems to be pretty sturdy, pretty good quality. There's no wiggle or anything in it just from mounting it, so we'll see if it works. Generally, for mounts and things like that, you don't have any issue with those working. Next, we do have a SMS here, laser. This is a SMS laser. This is, I think this one runs right around 100 bucks. I've had this laser for a long time as well. This laser has went on many different rifles. I've had it for the last 2 to 3 years, and so far from, you know, all the usage I've had on it, I've only really put it on 5.56, but it's held 0. And this is an all aluminum construction, so this thing is solid, waterproof. I think it's the IPX6 rating. So it's waterproof. You got O-rings around the seals for the battery, and it takes those 18 650 batteries. So as long as you got a few of those on hand, this thing will last you quite some time. This is the blue variant, so we have a blue laser, and you can also switch to a light. So this does have a flashlight, white light on here as well, that I believe is somewhere around 1,000 to 1,200 lumens. It's super, super bright. I'll show it to you guys. But this is a good option for a budget pack. They actually have a new variant out as well. It's like a Gen 2. One looks a lot more complex. It looks like it has a lot more features and little options, and it looks a little bit better than this one. Looks like it might sit a little bit lower on the rail, so they definitely made some improvements in their Gen 2. However, you can still get these for around $100, and for $100, I don't think there's any other laser that is competing with this one, because this laser has held up great, and I've had it for 2 or 3 years. So show you guys the camera. You got a pretty bright light there. You can also switch it to strobe. It does have a SOS mode, so if you do want to switch to strobe, you have a strobe there as well. So it's a very, very bright little light, and so far it served me well. I think the only thing is about it is that the rail down here, depending on what size your Picatinny rails are, you might have a little trouble making it fit and getting it on, but it's definitely doable. It's just, you can tell that it's a little bit tight on certain rails. The light, also from Amazon. This is one of the Surefire clones. I wanted to try out a different one, so I actually haven't tried this light out yet. However, I have tried this brand out before. So this is the Watson M600 clone. I believe this is a 900 lumen light. And it is an FDE model. Watson, I have a few of their other lights that I've kept on my rifles for a few years, and from everything that I can tell, they work really well. But this might be a different story. The other ones I have are the M300, so they're a little bit smaller, and this is the M600 design. So what I will say about this, I believe these are around 40 or 50 bucks, and they come with the Picatinny mount, standard Surefire Picatinny mount. They also take Surefire heads and tail caps, so you can use whatever Surefire head or tail cap you want on it if you just want to buy it for the tube. And then also, obviously you can use any type of Surefire pressure switches or anything like that. However, the one that comes with this is very solid. One of the weak points I see on a lot of these Amazon lights is that the pressure pad will just be garbage junk, and it just kind of flickers a little bit and things like that. However, this one, it comes with a Picatinny mount to mount that pressure pad to the rail, and it is solid. So, this one works really well, at least so far. So we'll see how it holds up. It is about 900 lumens, so it's bright enough to do what you need it to do, home defense or whatever. Right now we just need to test the reliability, but if it's reliable, it lasts 500 rounds, and I don't see the issue with it. However, I would be mindful of placing anything like this on a higher caliber. With 5.56 is definitely a little bit different, because this thing basically shoots like a 22. 5.56 doesn't have a lot of recoil. If you put it on something like a 308 or shotgun, you may definitely have a different outcome than I do. So just keep that in mind. Last here, I do have the iron sights. So just touching on that real quick. So these are not from Amazon. These are actually CZ iron sights. They came off my Bren 2. They're all aluminum, and these work really well. They kind of have like a ghost ring system on them. So I really do like these iron sights. They're just super solid. You can tighten them down really good and get them nice and snug on there. And they're just all metal, they're aluminum, and I like the way they look on this rifle. So I did migrate these from the Bren 2 to the MCX here. So overall, guys, that's what I have on the gun as far as the Amazon quote-unquote budget attachments on the gun. So we do have our LAM, our laser device, our optic riser, so that way we can see over the LAM. We have a flashlight, and that's going to pretty much conclude what I try to put on every single one of my rifles. Now, if you're asking me, why do you have a LAM? Why do you need a LAM? Don't think it's necessary. I shoot a lot under night vision, so I always want something that has some IR capabilities. That way I can practice with it. I do like to use my red dots in my optics as well, but it's good to have practice with both, because you never know what kind of situation you're going to run into. Not saying that this rifle will ever even see duty use. I'm really just into guns for the hobby of it. I shoot out at paper on the range, so not like it'll probably get any duty use anyway, but I always like to have that option just in case I want to take that particular gun out and shoot it under night vision. As far as what I can tell from these so far, like I said, I've used this before. The optics, super bright. I think one of the biggest downsides to a lot of the budget-oriented optics and red dots is that the emitter isn't very bright. Even in some of the Vortex, more budget-oriented red dots, like the Strike Fire and things like that, that optic does not get anywhere near bright enough for me. If you take one of those optics out on a very bright sunny day, it's very, very easy to lose that dot. So I want something that the emitter can get bright enough to where it doesn't matter how bright it is outside, that I know that I'm gonna be able to find my dot. So that's why I went with the Cyclee, because it has basically the same emitter in it as the SIG Romeo 5. And I think the SIG Romeo 5 does a great job of you know, really broadcasting that emitter, and they put really good emitters on their stuff. So they're super bright and you can see them in almost any type of climate. So I do like that. What I can tell you about the Unity mount is it definitely helps, you know, just bringing that up to eye level quick and fast. So I can't wait to get out on the range and kind of do some drills and stuff with it and see how it compares to that Hydra mount that we did a video on. Without further ado, guys, we're going to head out to the range and we're going to put some shots to this rifle. We'll do some drills with it, kind of give our overall first impressions on it. Like I said, I think I put a box of ammo through it, if that, so I barely have any rounds to this gun. So we're going to take it out, sight it in, and really give our first impressions on the conversion kit, the MCX conversion kit, and also give our impressions on some of the attachments after we get everything, you know, sighted in and everything like that. So let's go ahead and I'll see you at the range. So we're back out here on the range. We got the MCX with us. We just had some rain out here, so it's a little bit humid, but we're gonna take some shots with this. We're gonna make sure this is sighted in, so we'll take a few initial shots to get it zeroed. The furthest we can really zero it out here right now is about 30 yards until we get targets down the hill. So I'll zero it at about 30 yards. I'll zero it just a tad bit high. But yeah, we're gonna sight it in. We'll do a few drills with it. We'll give you our first impressions on the MCX and the conversion kit. Just overall kind of test the attachments out. So we'll see how it goes. And yeah, let's get into it. First, real quick, for all you guys who've been hating on my training and hating on me doing drills and things like that, saying you don't have any combat experience and you shouldn't have all that gear, you need to just join the military. Listen. The Second Amendment does not just apply to you in the military. We need prepared civilians. And while my training might not be up to your standards and the way that I train might not be up to your standards, I'm out here training. And all you guys, if you're gonna leave a negative comment about my training, the only thing I'm gonna ask you every time is, where are the videos on your channel? Okay? We need to be educating people. We need people to be more prepared now than ever. And we need to have a strong populace here in America. And a lot of that comes from the Second Amendment. So, you know, you got something negative to say, fuck off. All right, guys, so we got 5 rounds of 5.56 loaded up. We're gonna try to make the best of it. 5.56 is not as cheap as it used to be, so we gotta make the most count. I also have the Warble sling out here. I covered this in my Amazon tactical haul video. These are really good slings for around 20 bucks on Amazon. You can get them with Prime shipping. So, you know, they fit really well, they work, and I haven't had one fail on me yet, and I think I've got about 3 of them. So if you want that, then the link will be in the description below. A little bit, tighten that up. Let's see where that hit. Okay, so we're way right here, so we need to come left. Might have been a little bit low with that one, but what I will say about this gun though is it shoots amazing. Like, I mean, compared to just like your basic direct impingement AR-15 out of the box, this shoots just so much better, that piston driven system. Yeah, like I said, I knew I was gonna be a little bit low, so it looks like we went left a little bit too much, so we'll crank it back right a little bit, and I think we'll be good to go. All right, third attempt. We get a good, should be pretty close. I went right a little bit too much. I figured we're gonna have to do one last adjustment. It's a heavy gun. So what I will say about this, guys, just, you know, quick impressions. One of the downsides of the Virtus compared to something like the SIG LT is that this rail is very, very thick. So it's very, very heavy. It adds a lot of weight to the gun. So not so practical in terms of weight, but given that you have a, you know, a piston-driven AR with adjustable gas system that, you know, is just pretty much a battle-proven design, you know, it kind of defeats that. So I really don't care too much about the rail width, but it does add some extra weight. So just keep that in mind if you're looking at a SIG MCX Virtus versus a Spear LT. That one was low, but that's fine. I think we do need to bring it up just a tad bit, but I do think like all these are, except for this one's a little bit low, and this one I could have just been swaying up and down, but all these are kind of below this line here. So I want to bring it, we definitely need to bring it up. I could take a knee, but I'm not taking no fucking knee. We're not doing that. All right, let's see what happens. Just right. I pulled that one right though. I think we're good. So okay, let's step up a little bit closer and just take some, like, you know, I'm gonna take some back-to-back shots and see where we group. Get some rounds loaded up. Looks like we're shooting a little bit right, huh? I mean, it's pretty good just for some, you know, ringing off a few shots. I'm gonna bring it left just a little bit more, and I think we're gonna be solid. I pulled that last one for sure. So this is our group here. Not too bad. I definitely pulled one of these. I think I pulled that one for sure. You know, with this riser on it, you're gonna have height over bore. So just like the last video that I made with the Hydra mount, you know, this riser does significantly increase your height over bore the closer you get to your target. So you kind of have to consolidate for that extra space as far as your optic is from your barrel. So just keep that in mind. With that being said, you probably, when you get up close, you want to aim just a little bit higher. I think this riser is 2.6 inches or something like that. So you probably want to aim 2.6 inches higher than where you would usually aim at closer distances. What I'll definitely say about the SIG MCX is it's definitely pleasant to shoot. You can tell that it doesn't have as much rise, just like the Bren 2 that I did a video on, as something like a, you know, regular AR pistol or AR-15. Definitely doesn't have as much rise as some of the shorter barreled options in the AR platform. And I think that's where piston driven systems really help out. You know, is in those shorter barrels, because a lot of times in the AR-15s, you know, in the direct impingement AR-15, it does seem like they have just a little bit more climb than these piston-driven guns, because they just mitigate the recoil a little bit better. You know, a lot of the movement is up front, and you don't feel it as much in the shoulder. Not the AR-15s have a lot of recoil, but, you know, just definitely something to notate when we're talking about the differences between a direct impingement AR and something like the MCX. I mean, this feels like an engineered machine when you shoot it. It is very comparable to my Bren 2, my CZ Bren 2. I do like the CZ Bren 2. I think the Bren 2 shoots a little bit lighter than this does, but overall, I mean, this is a very comfortable shooting gun. I'm not a huge fan of the trigger. I think it's a little bit stiff, but I mean, I'll work with it. Like I said, I'm not a huge trigger snob. As long as it's good enough for me to be somewhat accurate with the gun, then I don't really have an issue with it. But what I will say is the gun just looks good, it feels nice, and I love the way that it fires. It definitely helps you be a little bit more accurate than something like just a generic AR pistol or something like that. So next we're gonna do some drills out here. So we're gonna do some Mozambiques, some bill drills, things like that, like we normally do. We'll shoot at the gong a little bit, test some accuracy from some longer ranges back at the 25-yard line, and just kind of see how the gun performs and see if any of the attachments loosen up or malfunction.
Shooter ready, stand by, beep.
Breathe the body to the head. See how it turned out. I think that man is dead, Minecraft. Like I said, height over bore. I'm aiming here. The bullets are definitely about, you know, a few inches low, so that makes sense. Here it looks like we put a few here. That was already there. Looks like all of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's keep running it, see if we can't tighten it up a little bit. All right, 15-ish yards. We're gonna do bill drill, 5 to the body, all center mass.
Shooter ready, stand by, beep.
Definitely pulled some of those high, but.
Looks like, yeah, that 1 into 6.
Yeah, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, and take some shots at the gong. Smooth. This thing is very accurate. That's what I will say is, you know, while there's so minimal amount of recoil in a 5.56, that little bit in the rise of the gun definitely helps keeping this thing on target. You know, it seems like it wants to shoot pretty fast and stay on target. When I was doing the drills, it didn't seem too hard to stay on target. So, I mean, the gun just runs. It seems like it runs pretty good and it's pretty accurate, you know, just with a few adjustments on the Cyclee. So, I'm pretty impressed with it. It feels really good. It feels like a dream to shoot. So far, nothing's loosened up, but, you know, we're only a few rounds in, so let's keep pushing. Oh, we're flying. Okay, I hit it when it was swinging. I'm pretty happy with that.
Shooter ready. Stand by. Beep.
I shot the last one just barely low.
Shooter ready. Stand by. Beep.
5 for 5.
Yes,
At least
sir.
I think. Until we check the target, I completely missed. It looks like this one, honestly, it looks like that might be new. Right here, yeah. Because there's a 1, 2, 3, 4. Is you sure it wasn't? Oh, the 5, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, that's the new one. Perfect.
Shooter ready. Stand by. Beep. Did you hit it?
Yep, 5 for 5.
Hell yeah, brother.
It was spinning, but I hit it. Oh, I think we got a bullseye headshot that time too.
Oh, you did?
I did, right there. Boom. And then here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That one.
Yep.
It's one of these two right here. Guys, this gun, I mean, I really like the way this gun feels. I mean, I'm falling in love with it already. Now I really do see why so many people like the MCX and just the overall impulse to the gun when you shoot it. The recoil impulse is super, super light, super smooth. I mean, it really does feel like a very premium AR-15 out of the box. So I'm really starting to love these piston driven guns. My Bren 2 shoots very well. That's probably a gun I'll never get rid of, and I think this one is going to be right alongside of that one in my forever collection, because this is just a phenomenal feeling firearm. I mean, it just feels so premium, even with it being an AR lower, because of the fact of the little nuances, like the fact it comes with the 45-degree safety and that SIG LT trigger. I mean, it just feels phenomenal. It feels really good. So I really do like this rifle. So far, I think we put about 40 or 50 rounds to it, and nothing is loosened up, but we're not really firing it too fast. So now I'm just gonna see how fast I can get this thing to run. So I'm just gonna start mag dumping a little bit, see if we can't get some of these attachments to loosen up or anything like that, and overall see how the gun runs and see if we can't get it to choke up. For any of you guys out there who are gonna be hating on my cheap budget attachments and things like that, the one question I'm gonna ask to you is, what color is your MCX? All right, what color is your MCX? Because all these people talk, half these people don't have any skin in the game, and they want to say things about optics they've never used, or flashlights they've never used, or guns they've never shot. And I'm a pretty honest person. I shoot it straight, and I tell you how it is. So if these don't work, I'll definitely tell you guys, but so far they're holding up pretty good. And like I said, I've had this thing for years, this SMS laser PEC, and I've used the Cyclee GT10 quite a bit on even some more hectic firearms. And what I mean by that is I literally used to have one of these on a 9mm direct blowback AR9 that had FRT in it, and it held 0 and held up fine. So just keep that in mind. All right, we're gonna speed it up a little bit, do some faster drills. I'm gonna do a build drill, 5 to the body, try to go as fast as I can. Give it to me, cameraman, whenever you're ready.
Shooter ready. Stand by. Beep.
Pulled one. It seems like I got all of them right here though. Pretty tight little grouping for spamming it that fast. Like, that's what I'm saying. This piston driven system, like, as long as you stay tight on the gun, I mean, you can keep it really balanced. It's not bad at all.
Shooter ready. Stand by. Beep.
Looks like we pulled one a little bit left there, but we definitely added, I think, one here,
one,
2 here,
those.
3.
Shooter ready. Stand by. Beep.
I definitely spread that one a little bit. I didn't have as much of a secure grip on the firearm. I should have pushed more into the shoulder. I definitely spread that one. You see this pop right here, that one, that one.
Looks
That's
like you
3.
put one right on top of another.
Looks like right here, right?
Yeah.
4, and then one of these 2. I don't see the mount loosening. I don't see the sight loosening yet. This hasn't loosened up at all, and then the light is still good to go. So let's make sure. Let's see if we get some light.
It's still coming on.
Yep, we're still good. I mean, look, guys, I know this is not like rigorous testing, but this is just the beginning. If this thing can survive, you know, the first initial 100 rounds, we'll put another 300 or 400 through it and really give our impressions on this stuff. But like I said, I probably have through this PEC, or whatever you want to call it, LAM, laser device. I mean, I probably have a few thousand rounds to this laser device at 5.56. You guys want to just kind of see how bright this thing is during the day. The sun's going down a little bit now. It's probably like 6:30 or so. So it's not super bright out here, but it's still daylight. So I'll point at the target here if you want to show them. You still see it pretty much bright as day. So that's a pretty good laser. It looks kind of white on that yellow, but it's blue. It's just the way the paper turns it. Actually, we are going to test the laser out here because just testing it, it seems like it's dark enough out here and the laser is bright enough where we can actually see it some distance. So I went ahead and lined it up with my red dot. Let's see how close it is. The SMS laser. Like I said, you can get these for like $100. Pretty crazy. All right, let's see.
Wherever you're aiming, that's where it's hitting.
Yeah, seems good enough to me. Like I said, guys, I have thousands of rounds of this thing, so if it's gonna lose 0 on a 5.56, it probably already would have, but I know some of you aren't gonna believe that, so you'll see it in these next few videos, and we'll put it through its paces, especially when we get to doing some night vision shooting videos, and we'll be doing those very soon. To be honest with you guys, I'm just very, very busy. I got a lot of other things going on in my life right now, so I just haven't had time to come out here late at night and shoot. We'll be doing some more videos on this, and I'm actually gonna do a video comparing all the budget lambs. So there is a lot of options now on the market for decent quality budget lambs, like full aluminum ones. You have the Somo gears. You know, they even have a few purse clones. You have SMS laser. You have the GL4 Pro by Rovi Vaughn or whatever it's called. So there's a lot of good options out there now that have been proven to, you know, withstand, you know, 5.56 and other calibers over time and work as, you know, a decent quality lamb. We'll do one more laser test. We'll just do like a quick build drill on one of the targets using the laser to aim. All right, so if you were in a close quarters situation, you had your laser, you're utilizing your laser, you know, how viable is it to use it to aim? Let's see. All right, cameraman, give it to me whenever you're ready.
Shooter ready. Stand by. Beep.
That first one caught me off guard a little bit. It looks like we put another one in the bullseye.
Looks like you did, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like we put another one in the bullseye, just aiming with that laser. It's pretty crazy.
That, then you got one above the bullseye.
Yep.
I think the to the right of the one you just pointed. I think that, yeah.
Yeah, one of those.
And I think the other one above the...
Yeah, so, I mean, I know that's not showing you guys much, but, you know, just kind of demonstrating the laser. I mean, even in, you know, conditions where the sun's still up, you know, you got mid-afternoon, the laser still works pretty well. You can see it during the day and you can still use it. So this one's held up for me. I really like this aluminum construction, so you're not getting a cheap plastic piece of junk, so you don't have to worry about, like, you know, dropping it or something like that and it cracking or something happening, you know, catastrophic when you really need it. So I do like that these are like full aluminum construction. They're built like a tank. And yeah, from my experience, they work pretty well. So overall, guys, I would say I'm very pleased with my first impressions on the MCX. I definitely think it's worth the money if you can find one of these uppers at a discounted price on tax swap or anything like that. I would definitely say, you know, jump on it if you don't already have a piston driven AR, because it's definitely a different experience. It feels better than your normal AR-15. For practicality, it probably won't make much of a difference for you. I mean, it is just a AR that shoots 5.56, but if you're into more premium feeling guns and things like that, then this is definitely something you might want to add to your collection if you can find one of these uppers, or just get an MCX if you ball like that, I guess. But yeah, overall, this definitely feels a lot different than AR-15, even though it sits on an AR-15 lower, and I just really, really like this gun. I mean, it's super accurate, super easy to shoot. And, you know, I can see why there's so much talk online about, you know, the SIG MCX and why they're so sought after. I mean, they are very, very fine firearms. I know they had a lot of problems with the Gen 1 that they fixed in the Gen 2, the Virtus. So, like I said, if you can find one of these uppers, these conversion kits online for pretty cheap, then I would jump on it, throw it on an AR lower, and customize it the way that you would like. Just touching on the attachments, everything has held up so far, nothing loosened up. Flashlight is still working. Laser hasn't loosened up, laser's still working, but we only put about 100 rounds to the gun today, so that's not saying much. However, I just want you guys to keep in mind, the reason I make these videos is to show you guys that there are some options that will work for your standard AR-15 and such that are in that cheaper price point. I know getting into the gun scene, it can be a little bit intimidating because everybody's got the best of the best. They got the Surefires and the Trijicons and the EOTechs and things like that. And don't get me wrong, I really enjoy those things too. I have them on a few of my firearms. However, it is not absolutely necessary to set up your first rifle. So if you guys do not have a rifle out there, I definitely recommend you, with everything that's happening in the world, everything that's happening in America, you should probably have a rifle, right? If we're talking about a shit hits the fan situation, now it's more probable than ever. So my whole goal with these videos is to get people who otherwise would never look at guns, or maybe are intimidated by getting into guns because of the price tag, to, you know, go out and buy your first firearm. It's okay for you to buy a Radical AR-15 and stick something like this Cyclee red dot on it. It's better than having nothing. So that's really why I want to make these videos, is just to show you guys that there are some cheaper options out there, and you don't have to spend, you know, a few $1,000s to have a, you know, viable tactical rifle. I mean, this setup altogether, including the optic, the mount, the laser, and the flashlight, will probably run you somewhere around $250 to $300. The laser is about $100. The flashlight's about 40 or 50 bucks. The mount here is like 30 or 40 bucks, and then your red dot is $80. So this whole setup here, under $300, and you basically have a rifle that can do it all. You can use it for home defense and CQB situations. You have a light on there so you can get your PID on whatever you're aiming at. You have a lamp, so if you do want to use it under night vision, this lamp works. I have thousands of rounds to it. And then you also have your red dot. And you have a mount where you could use this in a situation, you know, if you're in CQB with gear on, you can pull up pretty quick. And also you can use it with night vision. So you have a pretty much do-it-all rifle. You can set this on your Radical, your PSA, and some of these more budget-oriented items will definitely work. Not all of them, they're not created equally. There's a lot of garbage out there on Amazon. And I've tried a lot of it, and I got disappointed, and that's where I learned on what to look for when I'm ordering different products. That being said, guys, please just keep in mind, I'm also just a one-of-one subject. So, you know, my experience may be a lot different from yours. That's part of the downfall to a lot of these Amazon products, is that, you know, the QC is not going to be as good as something like Streamlight or Surefire or Trijicon or anything like that. So you're more probable to open up the box and find something that may not be right. So I encourage you just to research the item that you're looking at, make sure other people have good reviews on it and they've had good experiences, and also to you know, check for any issues. Obviously, when you get the equipment, take it out to the range, test it, make sure it's going to work. You want to test whatever gear you have. It doesn't matter if you have Surefire, Streamlight, or any of that. You still need to test it to make sure that everything works the way that you want it to. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to close this one out. Overall, I'm really happy with MCX. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Links for all this stuff will be down in the comments below, in the pinned comment, so please check that out. And if you do want to see more content like this of just your average ordinary guy who goes out to the range, who has some training under his belt, you know, making it work with what I have, then please like and subscribe. Comment down below what you think. Comment on your experience with any different types of Amazon optics or flashlights, and what your go-to is when you're looking for a budget-oriented option. That's pretty much all I have today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.